Hey, what's up everybody, it's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing the new Patience is a Virtue seasonal event, in which at the start of our turn, every card in our hand transforms into a random card that costs one more provision. That makes consistency really tough, unless you have a deck like this. So let's go give it a look. So today we'll be playing a Nilfgaard Tactical Decision deck, and of course, in this event, because our hand is changing every single turn, most of the cards in our starting deck don't matter, except Tactical Decision allows us, if we use this at the start of our turn, to draw into several cards, and in doing so, we can at least have a chance to play some of our stronger cards from our starting deck. So through that, we have better consistency, and we also have a few cards that can give us value even if they are just hanging out in our deck, with things like Ard Feainn coming out when we play an Aristocrat, Roach, and also Best Boy that can get summoned out from our deck. And then, in general, we also have some things that, if they can get tutored out, can have a lot of potential to synergize with other things. So if we do tutor out Masquerade Ball, or we happen to get a random Masquerade Ball, because there aren't that many cards that cost 14 provisions, so it's not out of the question you get a random Masquerade Ball, we do have a lot of other aristocrats in our deck, so there is a chance that if you have any form of tutor, or just your leader ability, that you can use that to set yourself up so that you can actually get additional value from Masquerade Ball. Worth noting as well that we have Torres, one of the relatively new cards that is incredibly powerful. You use them in round 1, and you will get additional cards added to your deck based on the cards that are in your opponent's deck, so if you find anything that looks really good, you can throw that in your deck. Bear in mind that, again, it's generally going to be pretty difficult to tutor those things out, so he evolves when you win a round. In general, I think that evolved form is better because he basically allows you to replay a card that you have on the board. If you have assimilate cards on the board, Torres is one of them, or if you just have something that has a really strong deployability, then replaying a card that is either not from your starting deck or just has really strong deployability can give you a lot of additional value. So that's another thing that we are trying to do, and because he's Aristocrat, he does also work with Masquerade Ball, and we also do have some cultists in our deck in case you happen to get a random Eternal Eclipse scenario, because again, that's the other 14 provision cost scenario for Nilfgaard. I mean, technically you can get other scenarios from other factions in this event as well, but not out of the question that you see that happen. So if you happen to get Eternal Eclipse on the board, and you happen to get a tutor, or you're looking to use your leader ability, then that is also something that you have at least a chance to set up as well. So that's really all there is to it. Other than that, of course, the general idea with this event is that you have random cards in your hand, and so you need to find a way to outplay your opponent with those random cards. So it's always at least a fair bit up to chance. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Scoia'tael here, and they'll go first. Alright, so let's see. We would like to keep Ard Feainn in deck, and we'd like to keep Torres in deck and see if we can summon him out later. Other cards we have in hand in that case would be relatively okay, but kind of like to keep Roderick, but okay, we'll just see what we get in here. Okay, I think in the grand scheme of things, that's pretty good. Ooh. I do like Prophet as well. Alright, they'll start with Svalbard Priest, a potentially reasonably powerful engine. The one that at just 3 power is potentially answerable, though I don't really think we have the means to do that, not quite quickly enough. I mean, technically, Pitfall Trap could. But Prophet would be interesting if it weren't for how our opponent's cards are going to evolve every turn and basically remove that lock. If we already had our Cultist scenario on the board, which is theoretically possible that we could randomly get that at a high provision cost for our other cards, but we don't have one on the board right now, so it's not that meaningful. I think what we actually like is Istrid here, because this is a rare opportunity. Speaking of cultists, Roach is a cultist, you didn't know? This is a rare opportunity to get a card from our starting deck rather than one of these randomly generated cards, which gives us some nice consistency potential. Alright, they go Blightmaker. And I think what we might do here is we could go Giga Scorpion Decoction, remove that Svalbard Priest. As we were saying, it's a 1 point per turn engine, or at least it boosts itself by 2, reduces the power of this unit by 1. So if we take it out, they have basically just hurt their own Blightmaker. So I do kind of like that. Otherwise, I mean, we don't know if we're going to get any value out of the coin generation. I mean, Cyprian Wiley could remove you, but that's not really as meaningful. Oh, that's 8 points. Short term, that is technically better. Long term, this might be better to get rid of the engine. Would be good to use Eggman if we had something to melee row. Unfortunately, we don't, so I think we're going to stick with this. And then next turn, we might break out Istrid. It's a matter of, on one hand, if we could... Oh, okay, that was the thing I was going to say, is we could play Eggman and then just hope that we happen to get a melee row best boy. Coral is good for the same reason that Istrid is good, gives consistency. Let's see, what do we have here? We could steal Coral, put Coral at the top of our deck, and then draw into Coral on a later occasion with Istrid. That's actually kind of interesting. That's actually kind of an interesting play. Oh, but Philippe is almost certainly too good to pass up on. A free Philippe? Yeah, I think we have to. I think we probably have to, because that also gets Ard Feainn out. So we want to wait to use Istrid at the beginning of our turn, so that we can actually play one of the cards from our starting deck before it gets transformed. So if we don't like what we see here, which I'm not necessarily sure that I do, we might opt to use him now and see if we can get something useful. Portal. Okay. Tried Matron's a decent card for them to get out. So we can... Ooh. This combination with Philippe is actually really nice. Okay, so this can help us potentially set up Istrid a bit. So let's see what we can do here. Agents. Agent is... Which one? Agent gives the... let's see. It was Aristocrat bleeding, so it's spying for Agent. Okay. So why don't we give... Who are we more concerned about locking? I feel like they're about to use Coral. This is longer-term value. That's a one-time thing. We can definitely shut down Coral. It's not quite as urgent to do that. Now we use Istrid. And look at this. Just what I wanted to see. Something like this. Huzzah. Okay, Tisea. It's obviously going to be our next lock target. And also not even sure if they're going to be able to get any value out of her at all. What is our best play here? I mean, so Synthesis honestly might be, just for the points on the body. Otherwise, Cave Troll protect one of our Philippes. It's not a terrible option, so maybe we'll do that. Now let's go after you. I mean, we could also, and probably should, look for the poison removal, but we have a big enough point advantage that they are not going to catch up to us with just the units they have on the board, not unless they can actually use their abilities. So the poison removal actually isn't urgent at this point in time. Alright, now Gezras is very strong. It's before his adrenaline kicks in. Yeah, they actually have movement. So that is very much a reason to... I was going to say we were going to start actually removing these people with poison, but no, now Gezras becomes top priority. So if we do that, then what are we actually playing? Oh, Crimson Curse actually has a really nice synergy. Really nice synergy. Which row are we going to want to use it on, though? I guess melee. Because this is going to give us bleed for these units, which means more statuses, which means easier setup for the Philippes. Also, putting the 6 points worth of bodies on our side, and again, giving them bleed, just from a damage standpoint, is worth a whole lot as well. So at this point, we could probably pass, and I think it would be very difficult for them to catch us. Gaunter can also... I mean, they keep on playing these cards that have powerful abilities that take a little bit of time to kick in, which keeps on meaning that we want to use our locks on the things that they play on their most recent turn, rather than actually removing with poison, which is a little unfortunate. But actually had a Curiosity. Falibor, 3, 2, and 1 wherever is certainly not bad. Yeah, and I think we do need to play on this turn, because Gaunter actually is a very high value play for them. Glorious Hunt. Highest base power? I think it's still us that would hit. So let's go here. 1, 2, and I guess 3. And then, again, we're just gonna continue to lock whatever unit they play. And now we are out-engineering them, or have better long-term value still with Blood Moon. So yes, they will pass, which means we will win on even here. in round 1. Okay, so we did just draw into some really big stuff. And we did win on even, and we have Ard Feainn, which is a small but potentially significant little advantage if we did want to try to push 2-0. So that's an option. I'd like to get rid of Torres, because I don't want him to transform at the beginning of our turn. And Masquerade Ball would have been really great as well. I was kind of intrigued by trying to tutor out Dagon later on, but I think we keep Masquerade Ball, and we try to have that plus Torres as targets for our leader ability. So I think what we do here... Let's see. Oh, we had Masquerade Ball already on the board. Vattier would be very interesting, of course. What we might do here is, since we're on even cards, at the very least, we can play a little bit more here and see if at any point in time they cannot match us pacing-wise. That means that we can just pass and force them to play one extra card, go a card down in round 3, giving us card advantage and double last say. Actually, although there's nothing currently for Vattier to go after, he is one of, if not our highest provision cost card here, which means he's going to brick the most quickly. He also resets Ard Feainn. So I do like that. I do like... Obviously, there's nothing for Ard Feainn to go after right now, and in terms of short-term tempo, it's not a very high tempo play, but... Oh, okay. No, this is still interesting. This is still interesting. Okay, it's Ancient Fog, but... Ah, it has Veil. Darn. Okay, it has Veil, so we can't try to set up Vattier by giving spying to this card and stealing it, but what we can do is... I mean, I kind of doubt that Ancient Foglet is going to have the setup. I don't think they're about to dish out a bunch of row effects to power this guy up. We could, however, just Scorch it to get rid of it, because it is the highest unit on the board right now. I mean, we could probably still get better value out of Triss Telekinesis. Yeah, it's going to be hard to reach Sabbath anytime soon with you, though, so I think it's probably Triss. Because we have Assassination, so we can get rid of you and also put more points on our side of the board as well. So now it is becoming much harder for them to catch us tempo-wise. Oh, man. If only we got Camby a little bit later, it would have been really interesting. Okay, Torres is obviously huge. This would be a great time to have Scorch. But, oh, man, if we could put spying on Torres and steal him with Vattier, that would be absolutely incredible. So I think we have to try. So that means we're looking for... I always forget. We need an agent to put at the bottom of our deck. Do we still have any agents in our deck? We have at least one. We have 2. We have 3. We have 3. Okay, come on. Come on, agent. Agent, yes! No, it's a... Okay, no, it's both. It's both. He's agent and an aristocrat, so he gets bleeding and spying. Okay, I saw the bleeding. I was like, no, I picked the wrong one. We're good. We're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. There's nothing for Heimdall to do, really. Sultan's Company is weak. Fulmar doesn't really have much to do. Can be, if it were later on in the round, would be incredible. I think it's probably still Fulmar. And we'll just try to set ourselves up in case we do find something that can give us Sabbath. We are close to it. I mean, yes, we had to technically give bleeding to our own card, but so be it. Okay, Goliath is worth a lot of points. Let's see. Torres. We do still have our leader ability, for what it's worth. So if we were to use Torres, we could increase the consistency of our leader ability and see if we could draw into... It's still a little late for Masquerade. I mean, we could do that. Try to set ourselves up for round 3, I guess. We should definitely be doing Beauclair here, though, right? I think so. Make this a huge Deafening Siren. I think that's definitely the play. Okay, there's... no, you'll get lowered down to a 9, so yeah. We're not as concerned about things like Igni. Let's get rid of... At this point, I think we don't need the little agents anymore. Yes, we'll still get rid of Thirsty Dame. And, sure. Not that that's going to mean anything. Well, that's interesting. So is this. Okay, Cadaverin, they'll create a Fulmar, which is still not that impactful. So we could pass here. We have a 16-point advantage. That means we pass here. They may not be able to catch us even if they play both of their remaining cards. But at this point, I think we just go all in, because we have... I mean, Snowdrop is actually worth... It might actually be worth more than... Well, Gesros, Melee Row boosts everyone here. That's very good. Snowdrop plus our leader ability is actually very high tempo play as well. I guess we'll go with Gesros, especially because he's 12 right now, so he'll turn into 13 if we don't play him on this turn, whereas Snowdrop is a little bit safer not to play here. So we'll go Gesros. Oh, for a second I thought Snowdrop turned into Snowdrop. I was very confused. Okay, it's Cyprian Wiley, who does technically have one card he can destroy, now that that's making a huge difference here. So once again, we've out-tempoed them, which means we have a 17-point lead now, soon to be a little bit more when Gesros does his thing. But I think we just go all in here and make it just about impossible for them to catch us by going with Figgis. Or actually, I mean, might as well first. Go leader ability here, see if we get something better. Figgis is not bad from a tempo standpoint. We deliberately tried to remove low-value cards. Oh. Hold on. What could we replay with Torres? The other Torres? Nobody has Doomed. Okay, well, they realize there's no way they can stop us at this point, so we'll take the 2-0 win. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here. And they'll go first. Okay, so let's see. I think we try to keep Roach in deck if possible. And then we'd kind of like to, well, if we can, keep Glynnis or some of our cultists or aristocrats in deck, but we only have one mulligan left. So take your pick. Guess maybe we'll put Glynnis back. Okay, they'll start with an Infiltrator. Not too worried about that. Not worth many points. And even if they do put that at the top of our deck, it's not the end of the world. It'll eventually transform into something that's much more powerful. Though that's actually really odd. They're starting with a 4 provision cost card. That means that they must have had a scenario or something that cost the maximum number of provisions in their starting hand, and it bricked. So we could either go Witch Apprentice, which is a little bit slower, but once we do reach Sabbath, will be very powerful. Or we could go Cuirac Frigate, which is a little bit safer. Maybe we'll take our chances on the Witch Apprentice. Alright, Hawker Smuggler is just about useless because this hand buff is going to get completely negated whenever their cards transform. So although we could go Giga Scorpion Decoction, which may still be what we opt to do here, it's not any more effective on the Smuggler as it would be on the Infiltrator. In fact, might even opt to use it on the Infiltrator. Kind of like to put some units in this row, though, to help build up the Sabbath here. But not great options. Honestly, could make a case for Herald. I think he actually is the best here. Oh, and okay, Roach. That is getting us closer. Okay, they'll go Sarah's Fearless from hand. I mean, obviously, she's not in their starting deck, but generally her value comes from getting tutored out from your deck. Anna Stringer, do we have a way to boost her? Not at the moment, so I don't really think we can get her inspired. Summoning Circle is a tutor, and that is tempting. Could use that to get something like Glynnis. Ooh. That's actually really tempting. Obviously, it's not going to immediately contribute toward reaching Sabbath here, but we are off to an early lead, so that may not be all that concerning. Stefan, we don't really have tactics in our starting deck, so normally that'd be great if we did, but we do not. So, alright, we'll take a little bit of a chance here. And we'll go for wherever you are. Glynnis. And it doesn't take that long. Doesn't take that... Oh, also, I guess. Sarah... I mean, they heal the Smuggler, they're going to have to damage someone else, so... Yeah, Glynnis is not... Or rather, Ceres is not really countering Herald as much as she might otherwise do. Do they have Matic? Nope. Okay. Fair enough. Guess we'll just hold on to these 2 points with the Herald's pals. So... MK, I mean, I don't really think we're looking to go for coins here. We'd have to have committed to that pretty early on. If we did still have Herald, then Bjorn actually could be pretty significant here, in fact. Well, we just destroy someone altogether if we were to use him and survive on 1 power. Bruver, I mean, he's the highest base power, but I think it's actually Stennis. Oberon is close to bricking here. He's about to turn into a 13. So he is the riskiest play to hold. In fact, he's the riskiest not to play here, is what I should say. So I think we will go for him here. And either of these, I guess Ceres is technically a little bit stronger. Best boy comes out as well. How close are we to... We're on 17 in that row. Okay, it's not really a huge deal if we do or do not mess with Ceres, so oh well. They did have that poison. And now... I mean, for what it's worth, we could have had a lot of interesting Skellige synergies here if we still had Herald to set up our Herald's pals. But Dagger probably doesn't quite work in this situation. Colgrim, not all that effective right now, as Adrenaline is not even active yet. Detloff, no reliable way to consume him. War Council is pretty tempting here. That's looking like that might be the play. Otherwise, we go Hentget's Sword. And we could do... Oh, we could use that to destroy Nenica. She did obviously use her ability already, so I guess we'll go War Council. And... Ooh. Ooh, okay. Yes, we'll take our chances. It's a little later than I would like. It is a little later than I would like. Also, probably should have done that in the melee row to get us closer to Sabbath. Still wouldn't have been enough, but yeah. Would have liked to have gotten Masquerade Ball earlier and actually built around it in a round, because we don't, to be honest, we don't really need it in this round. We're looking pretty good here. So saving it as a round 2 or round 3 win condition probably would have been preferable. Also, we are about to get Glynnis out here. Torres is in many ways the card that this deck is built around. So I'm curious what they're creating a copy of Glynnis and a Henrietta. We are, of course, about to get Glynnis out here. We may proceed to Heatwave Torres, because he's now 14. Old Spear Tip does get us to Sabbath, which means 2 more points per turn on the Witch Apprentice. It's a little bit late for that to be a huge factor, but I guess that, I mean, that does add up to 14 in 1 turn, so it does technically match the value of removing Torres, although if we remove Torres, we get rid of the Order ability as well. Alright, we'll go... Let's do this. We put an Aristocrat at the bottom, and then give you Bleeding. And we do this. And that should get us up to Sabbath. There is Glynnis. Now, again, probably would have liked to have gotten her... Oh, they probably should go for Glynnis. Okay, don't go for Glynnis. So now, here's the thing. They have played 1 more card than us. They have not caught us. So, they are also going to take 1 point of damage on Torres. So, we'll be at a 4-point lead, which is... It's not huge. They presumably would be able to catch us. But we could pass here and basically just force them to go multiple cards down. We do have the carryover from War Council. So even if they did, for some reason, try to push, we'd have a decent play there. We have some solid cards in hand, so we absolutely could win round 1. Maybe, do we still opt to do that then? I mean, I kind of... As I was saying, would have been nice to build around Masquerade Ball and build around Glynnis. You are an aristocrat. Alright, fine, we'll do it. Put Assassination at the bottom, I guess. It's not really going to help us much here. I'm going to save War Council. That way, if they do try to push in round 2, we still have something to give us an advantage. Okay, they do pass. I mean, that's to be expected. Yes, we got a little greedy, just absolutely making sure that we won this round. Although we're on even cards in round 2, and we have that extra pointage from War Council and our leader ability, we could push for the 2-0. Alright, so if we are going to push for the 2-0, which we could consider doing, because we have the advantage of both Ard Feainn, which is maybe not a huge factor, but it is potentially a little bit of bonus value, plus War Council, so they're nothing in terms of carryover. If we're going to do that, we need to be mindful of we have some very high provision cost cards here. Oops. That are going to turn into bricks if we don't get rid of them. So we should probably dump them. You're what, 13? You're also 13. Okay. So you're an 11. That is a card that we would have liked to have kept in deck to build. Oh, build around our scenario if we still had it. We do not have 25 or more units in our deck, so Renfrey does not work. Tempting as that did appear at first glance. Now you're just going to tempt me. Just going to mock me with all the aristocrats that we could have built around with Masquerade Ball. Torres would have been fantastic, and we could have potentially drawn into him with Tactical Decision. At this point, what? Anna Henrietta is probably our best Tactical Decision play, but that is definitely not as good. I think we still try to bleed out here, though. See, we have... what? Oh, only one card we can get with Portal? Darn. Okay. We'll go Marana Runestone. We'll go for the Matron. Easier to set up than the Harmony is. We're going to try to bleed out a little bit. And either see if we can get the extra value from War Council to give us the 2-0 win, or if not, then we'll still presumably be on even cards for round 3. Or, you know, if at any point unable to match us, then we can pass. They'll go a card down in round 3. Pirate is decent tempo. It will banish something from our deck, which is not the absolute end of the world. Brood is just a 6. Flaminica is a 6 with potentially some more long-term value. Fisher King. The thing is, well, yeah, we could use that to put something like Anna Henrietta at the top of our deck and then use our leader ability to draw into her. Otherwise, that means we're guaranteeing we'll draw into her in round 3, in which case we're basically just going to force ourselves into mulliganing her. But there is something to be said for that. For at least giving ourselves the option of a guaranteed Anna Henrietta. Unfortunately, it had to be range row, which means no extra value from the Dried Matron. It really wants us to get Renfrey, doesn't it? Alright, Ulzer. Surprised they haven't used Roderick yet. I mean, yes, they're getting a little bit of coins out of him, but who knows if that's going to be enough value, because technically speaking, we could pass right here, right now. They'd still have to play one more card. We'd be a card up in round 3, in a short round 3. It would be hard for them to catch us. But I think maybe we just go... Your pirate in our hands. Your bandit, not a pirate, darn. I think this could be the turn we just go for tempo. But Spotter might be the best play here. And it takes a turn before we can actually use it in a meaningful way. Otherwise, we're going leader ability here. It's slow, but we'll do it. Also, it should have been there. It absolutely should have been melee row. Okay. So now we put you back. Put you back. Put you back. Play on Henrietta. Steal their leader ability. Use this. Do this. Do this. Do this. Okay. So what I should have put Morvran in the melee row because we needed to put both these other cards in the range row to use their abilities, and we didn't get the chance to get any extra value out of the Dried Matron then. Oh, and also, the battle preparation, Morvran is a soldier, so we ought to have used it on him for a few extra points as well. But that's being nitpicky, because what does matter here, the only thing that really matters here, is that we are still looking at a point advantage here on even cards. They would need to play one more card here. At this point, I think we've bled long enough that, you know, the one card advantage we'll have is more significant the shorter the round is. So I think, again, just by making this round go a little bit longer, we have increased our likelihood of success in round 3. And it also means that we've had a little bit of time to, I think, get our cards to a decent provision cost here going into round 3. This will be, you know, a 9, an 8, a 7, which is right around where we'd want to start the round with. That is enough for them in this round, so they do catch us one card. And if we had played a little more optimally on our past 1 or 2 turns, then maybe we could have forced them to have played one more card in this round, but even then, I still don't think so. So, they'll win round 2, but they go a card down to do it. Alright, so now we are mostly just looking at provision cost management. So most of our cards are in the middle, which is a pretty good place to be. It means they should be reasonably powerful. Might even keep the Infiltrator, because that can be our last play, and by the time we actually get around to using it, it should be a decent number. But the high provision cost stuff, like Aquin, like that scenario, those were likely to turn into 4 provision cost cards, and even by the time we end up playing them, still might not have been all that strong. So like here, we should have a fair number of decent options. Greater Brothers. Good point, Slam. Decent target for leader ability as well. We have last say, so we don't need to rush to that, although it's a Synthesis Blaze if they... I mean, that would be, I would think, pretty obvious target for them to lock, otherwise this immediately answers Greater Brothers. Do we at least test them and see if they play that properly? I guess we do. This is also... Isn't this our highest provision cost card, which I think means we actually do want to play it here, because if we don't play that, then it becomes much more time sensitive. Eventually, it would turn into a scenario that we would likely end up getting little value out of. This is actually a decent play if they don't answer Synthesis Blaze. Actually, no, because the armor won't count as healing you. Right, so they have 9 cards in their deck. Are they going to be able to remove? Not quite. They are going to lock. Okay. That was the right play. That was the right play. And they even use the Insanity ability to put the extra armor on. They've realized, oh, this is maybe a little bit scarier than they would have liked. Oh, so close on so many levels. Okay, Gaunter. Gaunter might be the best option here. If they hadn't locked, then Greatsword would have been a nice combo with the Synthesis Blaze here. But I think Gaunter's a 10. Then we have, what's, a 9, a couple of 9s, a 7, and a 6. So, again, just being mindful of what our current provision cost of our various cards is, because we want to be careful that we don't accidentally... I think we're still looking at... Greater Brothers is the... Well, yes, Greater Brothers will be the most valuable card for us to remove, because we will not be able to do this quickly enough to stop Roints or Synthesis Blaze unless we use leader ability to lock one of them, but I still think we're going to perhaps wait to do that on our last turn and just lock Greater Brothers for the damage. Oh, well, okay, granted. Ooh, that would necessitate that we don't destroy Greater Brothers right now, but, man, we keep on getting Dogger and almost having the setup to make very good use out of him. And Wispus might have still given us enough damage to remove the armor from Greater Brothers when combined with those other things. They did not use the Synthesis Blaze. Wow. Okay. They are making that very tempting. I suppose, yeah, I mean, this would have been 10 points to lock, or slightly more than 10 points, 11 points to lock. Yeah, I think what we'll do here is... No mages, right? Okay. Haven't used you yet either. Okay, so none of these are amazing. None of these are amazing. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And then we're gonna do this. Because that is actually roughly the same value as Greater Brothers would have been, and we can still remove Greater Brothers. And that's not even that big of a boost. Let's see, War Elephants. It's worth a little bit if we can destroy it. Selkirk is far and away the most valuable here, unless that 1 damage from Ilva Sharpshooter can take something out. But I don't think that's going to be the case. They have, for what it's worth, they've been doing an amazing job top decking. Let's see. Damage chasing units by 4, so it's a perfect amount of damage for Roids. We just don't have a great target for Synthesis to go after, but I think we kind of just make sure that we get the value out of it. Don't risk this getting answered in some way, like we answered theirs. Okay. Now this is a little scary, because we are at that 12 provision spot where these are still okay plays. I honestly didn't even see what they did. Also, that is very unfortunate. They purified with Kellic. Okay, however you say his name. And got rid of our Duelist, which does stink. But that was their last play. So we should have enough points, assuming that our last card doesn't brick when it transforms into a 13 provision cost card of some variety. So Jacques is what? He's a 10, assuming we use his Tribute ability, which ties us up. Whereas Herald, do we have any Skellige people in our graveyard? He can't get Herald, so I don't think so. So I think we're looking at Jacques. I'm deliberately row sacking just because we might see a Sabbath unit. Okay, so that ties us. This just can't be worth 0 points. Okay, and Siggy is not great because we don't have anything for him to tutor out, but we will still be fine. And take the win. So there's a look at a Nilfgaard tactical decision deck for the new Patience is a Virtue seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. And take a look at our playlist for other Patience is a Virtue decks that we've played before. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.